Well, good morning. It's Longhaultanker. Today is Tuesday, the 3rd of September, 2024, at approximately 0805. That'd be 8:05 a.m. Central Time, and I am in Herculeum, Missouri, on load number 21 in a row going to Portage, Wisconsin. Now there's some details different here, and I'll go over those as we get going in the video. But first, let's introduce the equipment. Well, first, let's adjust the camera. I'm not satisfied completely, so let's do a little something here. But let's introduce the equipment. I have had a haircut this morning, and since I have it with me, and I don't always do it on the road, but I've got my handy dandy wall electric clippers, along with the bag of all of the accessories and assortments that come with it, and the handy dandy little travel case that goes with it. I know some want me to do an actual head shave, not head shave, but haircut with the clippers. But what's to see there? That would be about as interesting as watching ice freeze in January, in my opinion. We got some coffee here. Nothing like dark roast, fresh ground, truck stop coffee. That'll keep a truck driver awake for hours. All right, for the razor this morning, we're going to use Whacker Old Sheffield. What is that, 6/8, 7/8? Does it really matter what you get so far along? I mean, they're all the same. Black horn scales, little bit of coloration right in here, brownish. And the other side. And the front does say model number 1, silver steel. The back says Stoser. I don't know what Stoser means. Handmade Germany, Whacker, Soligen. So silver steel. And I don't know if that's a especially strong steel or what, but Whacker's always had the reputation for strong steel. And I honed this up. I honed it up on something about a month ago, and I wasn't satisfied with it. It was a conical, and I was not satisfied. So I brought it back to my conical A, my primary conical A that I've had for years, and honed it. And did a test shave on it, and it was like almost there. And so my honing session was about 45 minutes. And so I gave it another honing session of about 45 minutes, and then did another test shave on it. When would that have been? Oh, I'm thinking that must have been this past Saturday morning. Or no, it was afternoon after I found out the details of my load, because they changed like 3 times from a week ago today. And so I honed it that second time for about 45 minutes on my conical A that I've had for years, and have learned every stone has its own process and procedure, and you've got to learn it to unlock the key to the stone, and that's all important. And so I had a second 45-minute session on it, and that follow-up shave on a Saturday afternoon, late afternoon, was just perfect. And so I'm expecting this shave to be very delightful. Our soap this morning is Sterling Soap Company, is Oro Valley, and I love this soap. It smells very arid. It's desert-like, and you can see, of course, the little mountain sun and cactus right there. And it's I don't know enough about scents. I don't care to know. If I knew that much about scents and shaving soaps, I'd have to wear a pink bandana. No offense, just a little Rainbow Mafia humor. All right, the brush. I'm doing this primarily I love this brush anyway, but out of a bit of courtesy, respect, homage to Greg Gallant and Bill in Pennsylvania, Bill M. This is a Sterling Soap Company 31 millimeter boar bristle brush, and it was made by Zenith. Now, when I saw this and loved it so much, yes, I got a second one from Sterling. I checked I bought this one, and several weeks later I checked their website, and they said they were sold out when I bought this one. But when I looked later, they had another one up there, so hey, I grabbed it. And they're less than $50, these boar bristle brushes. And so I got it. And I said, how'd you happen to have another one? And they said, well, sometimes we keep some back until all the shipments have gone out and been delivered and there's no returns. And so we got a few, how many? Well, 3 or 4, they said. And I said, well, that's very interesting. And so I bought the last one they had in stock a second time. And so I started looking for Zenith brushes, and I did find some, and I feel a little bit gypped because they said that they were, 28 and 30 and 31 millimeter knots, and I bought like 5 or 6 from a vendor off YouTube and they're allegedly, and they're properly stamped, genuine Zenith brushes, but they just seem half the size of what you would think. This one is a full-fisted handle. It is a full 31 millimeter knot. It is, 52 millimeters loft, and it's a beautiful, strong, manly brush. Those other brushes by Zenith could very easily be sold to the Rainbow Mafia, and they would just giggle all the way. And so they weren't for me, and I'm not satisfied with, I want a manly brush. And if you need to know what manly means, go back and watch a John Wayne movie or an old Clint Eastwood movie, and you'll understand what manly, you might begin to learn what manly means. And for your first episode, watch Big Jake. Watch what a real father does with his children when they're out of line. Oh, I love Big Jake. That's my favorite movie. You can still love your children, raise them right, and beat the snot out of them when the time's appropriate. Oh, I'm sorry, can't say that. All right. I'm on a roll this morning, baby. I am on a roll. It's, all right, let's get to, so I love this big brush, and I thought I would use it this morning because Bill Gallant used one. I'd like to know, Mr. Bill, or Greg Gallant, where'd you get that thing? Where did you get, do they still have them in stock? Can they be purchased today? Because I just find that I love, it's the only size boar bristle brush. By the way, I've got 2.5 days, almost 3 days My last shave was late Saturday afternoon when I found out the details of my load had been changed yet again. Oh. And maybe I need to go back and watch Bill M's video, because I don't remember hearing what brand. It didn't look like a Zenith. I could be wrong. And I don't remember what brand it was. I don't remember where you got it, Bill. Maybe I'll call you and ask you. All right, that's it. Turned on the fan a little bit. No wonder it's hot in here. Had a nice hot shower. I'm in shower room number 5, which is all the way at the back at the end of the hall. And I usually get number 1 or number 2, because that's just what they give you. And so the water was quite hot in the shower, but not in the sink. And I don't understand that. Well, I do, but trying to get somebody to do something about it is near impossible. All right. Well, this is going to be a fun shave. And, you know, for those of us that just love the straight razor hobby, straight razor shaving hobby, and all the extras that go with it, things like brushes and different razors and the honing and the stones and the different stones and the different methods, you know, it's just a lot of fun. And that's, you know, I heard Bill M say on his last video that's what makes the fun. We've taken an ordinary, mundane task of shaving, and we've turned it into a hobby. We've turned it into something that we enjoy doing. And so, you know, most people would say, not a big deal. I get comments on my YouTube channel all the time that say, not interested. You know, they'll say, first time I watched and the last time I watched. You know, it just takes too long. I can see, you know, yes, you did a good job, but it's just not for me. Okay, fine. That's all right. That is all right. I'll tell you something that's not for me, and that's jumping out of airplanes with a parachute. That's just not for me. Yet, You know, I say yet. There's always the first time. I drive a truck at 65 miles an hour on the flat for a living every day on the open highways of America. And that's always fun. Sometimes going downhill, reaching speeds in excess of 80, 85, close to 90 miles an hour going, just no brakes, just go. I'm not afraid. I am not afraid of driving that big old truck. All right, here we go with the Sheffield from Whacker. And yeah, it's got the little bit short, stubby tail on it, and some people don't like that, but yeah. So I've been doing a lot of reading and a lot of listening to history and politics and such like that I find very interesting. And I'm beginning to understand where the deep state has really gotten its hooks into America. And it all goes back to the Federal Reserve and how we got there in 1913. But it's not just 1913 and the establishment of the Federal Reserve, but the steps leading up to it. And the real rat in that entire process, yes, Wilson, President Woodrow Wilson was a monumental rat of his day, but one equally as odious. And Wilson was elected in 1912 as president, and all the people that were around him that made him a rat. Baruch something, I don't remember his name. Some of these names are foreign, dare I say. And but Theodore Roosevelt generally regarded as an American hero of sorts. Charge of San Juan Hill, governor of New York, commissioner of the police department. If you've ever watched Blue Bloods with Tom Selleck, you'll always see him with a portrait of Theodore Roosevelt on the wall behind him. But it's interesting to note that Samuel Clemens, Mark Twain, thought that Theodore Roosevelt was a shameless opportunist that beclowned himself, never failing to take an opportunity to demonstrate what a clown he really was. Glory seeker, etc., etc. That's what Mark Twain said about Theodore Roosevelt. And I'll have more to say on that, maybe even post up some pictures on his alleged assassination attempt in Milwaukee. And just how did Roosevelt become vice president to William McKinley? But for the death and maybe even the assassination of Garrett Hobart, who was McKinley's original vice president, who died. And so in comes Roosevelt to be McKinley's replacement vice president, imposed upon him by the party bosses. And no sooner had Theodore Roosevelt, nicknamed TR, become vice president to McKinley, that in very short order, McKinley himself is assassinated, and oops, TR's president was never nominated. Well, that's not true. He had to be nominated by McKinley and confirmed by the Senate after the death of Hobart. Wonderful. Well, I'll have more to say about Roosevelt and his bull moose antics in 1912 that split the Republican ticket between himself and William Howard Taft, and thus allowing Wilson to be elected, and all of the folly and misfortune that followed from 1912 to World War II. In 1939 in Europe, and the bombing of Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941, and all those steps can be traced back to the election of Wilson. Now, something else to consider in all of this, we don't think about this much, and the true history and character and nature of our own country and constitution. It's with the bull moose, Wilson progressive, Roosevelt TR progressive, that all of this Federal Reserve stuff and interest money and how so much mischief got started in this country that was not here before, or barely. And that's where the Federal Reserve comes in. That's where Alexander Hamilton comes in at the founding of this country with the National Bank, ostensibly the Federal Reserve of its day. And, Alexander Hamilton desire for a national bank, and he founded it on, just happened to have a copy of the Constitution of the Lord Baron R of England Bank. And so he set up the first national bank along the same lines. Second national bank, before Andrew Jackson became president, had been chartered. The man who wrote the charter, that's what I meant to say before, charter. The man who wrote the charter, John C. Calhoun of South Carolina, and who was forced upon Andrew Jackson and as his vice president, John C. Calhoun, that is, and was the father of the Second National Bank, wrote the charter for it. He said, Andrew Jackson said before his death, he said, two men I should have killed or hung, and that is John C. Calhoun and Henry Clay. And we have Donald John Trump to thank that Andrew Jackson is still on the $20 bill because Barack Hussein Obama had intended to remove Jackson from the $20 bill for his opposition to the Second National Bank and put on Harriet Tubman, who? On the $20 bill. Now, I like Andrew Jackson on there. But John C. Calhoun, after Jackson had killed the Second National Bank, and that is to say allowed the charter to expire and not to renew it, and John C. Calhoun was most displeased. In fact, some attribute the attempted assassination some attribute the attempted assassination on Andrew Jackson to John C. Calhoun. That wasn't him personally, of course, but he would have ordered it. And those in Confederacy, those in league with him, would have ordered it. And the man, the assassin's two pistols misfired. President Andrew Jackson beat the snot out of the would-be assassin with his cane. And let's not forget that before Andrew Jackson was president, he was general, victorious general of the American armies in the Battle of New Orleans. We've all heard that song by Johnny Horton, Battle of New Orleans. In 1816, we took a little trip. And but that battle, I say battle, contest of wills over the National Bank was called the Banking Wars. And it's a very interesting period. And a lot of the mischief regarding our money supply, interest on who prints the money, etc. That's when all of that, well, you can go back to Alexander Hamilton. That's why the liberals just love Alexander Hamilton. But all of these dots are connected by the money supply. Well, I think I've gotten caught up on my shaving videos. Oh, I know what I forgot to tell you. Let's talk about this load. I'm on load number 21 going back to Portage, Wisconsin, which is a good thing as far as I'm concerned, but this Labor Day weekend holiday has really thrown a kink into things. The plant that I go to is closed on Monday. And so when I got it in on Wednesday, there was not a load going out on Friday to deliver on Monday. But there were 3 loads that were delivering this week, one on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I got the one that was delivering on Wednesday. It loaded on Sunday. So I was home for 4 days. But that was going to beg the question, if I load on Sunday, delivered on Wednesday, I'd be home on Friday. Hey, how about if I grab up the Friday load that traditionally loads on Friday? But now we got a new rule. We no longer, and it just started this week, our company is no longer using preload drivers to go get the trailer loaded and bring it back to the yard. And make it available to guys like me who drive the distance for delivery. That ain't happening no more. There's no way that I could have gotten back to the yard early enough on Friday to go make the load time at 8 o'clock Friday morning. I'd just be coming in from Shepherd, Texas. No way I was going to make that. And so that not being able to get that Friday load, this coming Friday, today's Tuesday, so I'll just be getting back to the yard on that early Friday morning, and there's no way I can get back there early enough, grab the trailer, the loading trailer, to go get loaded, because I'm now the loading driver. So this one that I'm on that loaded on Sunday morning, I have to trace it out. Not just if there's another one next Sunday, but if it is a continuously regular, reliably regular Sunday load. And if it is, great, I've got my new load, and I can, because there's supposed to be 2 or 3 loads a week going to Portage, and all I got to do is make sure that this Sunday is a constant regular. If it is, great. That's what I want. What I want to do is to minimize home time, keep the schedule going. That way I make money. That's the only way I make money. nice, smooth, comfortable edge to this conical edge Sheffield whacker. Well, I have forgotten to send my greetings out and say hello to my usual regular crew, and that's Bill M. and Martin Shave Tests and Dapper Shaves, Doc, and Sean Staplefeld and Eric at the Cajun Blade. And I watched your most recent last night, Eric, and your comments on stropping were spot on. It's like I say about just almost everything. If the item in question, whether it's the razor, the brush, the strop, the combination of stropping, etc., cannot stand up to the test, then it's kind of like taking a boar bristle brush and just mashing it. That's part of the test. If it doesn't stand up to the test, it's not worthy. And the same would be true with all the nonsense so many spew about stropping and rolling an edge. You know, I agree with you, Eric. I have never rolled an edge. I don't know anybody who, and that seems to be the number one concern about all of the ne'er-do-wells, all of the crying babies, is rolling the edge. Now, you got to have a little bit of intuitive, God-given intuition, smarts, whatever you want to call it. And that is, when you're stropping away on a strop, you're not letting the strop dip so low that you got almost a U shape. I exaggerate a little bit. You know, when you hit the bottom of that U-shaped valley, yes, you may very well have a tendency to roll the edge. But who would keep their strop at such an extreme angle? I don't know. It makes no sense. Now, again, maybe I'm exaggerating. I don't know. So anyway, and then after Eric at the Cajun Blade, we'll go to Greg Gallant, who's becoming a rising superstar. Okay. Got a little bit of a cramp going on underneath my left shoulder blade and armpit. That soap is smelling good, the brush is working good, the razor is working good. I'm having a wonderful shave, enjoying every minute of it. Which for some of you might seem excessive, but you know, that is to say, long. And so if you don't like my long video, you can either watch it in sections, segments, zip through it real fast, or move along. Move along, move along. Oh, that just feels amazing. Well, I've kind of run out of gas and things to say right here. So I'm gonna finish up the shave here and do the head shave and get to moving. I gotta be rolling by 11 o'clock. And we're about an hour into the shave, and so I started at what, 8:30? 8 o'clock, whatever it was. So I got plenty of time, so I'm not worried about that. This is wonderful. So very thick, slick stuff. Well, I expect to have this video uploaded to YouTube by Friday morning for sure. It won't be tonight, it'll likely be tomorrow night from Steele, Missouri. Because I have almost no signal, as I've mentioned before, from curbside parking in Portage, Wisconsin. All right. Well, that feels very nice. That feels very nice. Let's do a head shave. So the Whacker Old Sheffield is what we used this morning. Delightful razor, good edge, magnificent edge from my Conical A that I've had for years and years. All right. I guess that'll do. So I think I'm far enough away from the speaker system in the hallway that I am not going to be hit with we'll see, copyright violation, unless I put in some sort of soundtrack of my own choosing. which I, may or may not do. Okay. It's a little strange to be here on a Tuesday morning, where I'm usually here on a Sunday morning, with the Sunday weekend in progress, as it is on a Tuesday, business day, work day. That's the thing about truck driving and truck drivers on the road, is that every single one has their own priorities, has their own schedule. Things they're trying to accomplish at any given time. And those are things that most people just would not understand. And so it's like, get out of my way. Let me get done what I need to get done. Oops. And just stay out of my way. Which most people don't understand. The necessity. Get out of my way. If that they view it as being a selfish motive, and it's really not. It's not a selfish motive. If I'm pleading with you to stay out of my way, that means you're going to stay alive, I'm going to stay alive. Otherwise, I'm going to run over you and I'm going to kill you. I exaggerate, but not by much. And I was thinking on this today about, if you've watched me very long, you've seen how these attendants have barged into the shower room, and created near hysteria. Their part, my part. Near hysteria. Does barging in to a shower room constitute cause? Because you don't know what their intent is. You've ostensibly rented the room for a period of time, therefore are entitled to the right to privacy, the right to security. There's a certain measure of obligation taken on by the lessor of the room, and so barging into a room, does that constitute reasonable basis, like trespassing or fear of one's life, and why not for the use of deadly force? I don't know. Just an interesting thought that crossed my mind earlier. this morning, actually, because I had a little exchange of words with one of these guys that just, not my problem, dude, not my problem. Okay, so here's what happened this morning. It's not a big thing, but it's something. So when you purchase, let me say it this way. When you get your room through the app, the Loves app, and you get your room, you pay for it, you come into the room using the little magic secret code that they give you through the app, and you type it in. On the keypad outside the door, unlocks the door, gives you access to the room. Then it flips over to a different timer, 15 minutes. Your PIN number is active for another 15 minutes. Okay, fine, great. What's the purpose of that? Well, how about if I want to go get a cup of coffee while I'm getting ready to set up for my shower and shave. So you got 15 minutes. You can actually exit the room and come back, go get your cup of coffee. Because my hands are loaded when I come up in here. Drop your gear off. And go get your coffee. And so the attendant saw me coming out, and quite naturally he says, "Everything all right?" I said, "Yeah, just fine." I said, "Just fine. I'm gonna go get me a cup of coffee." I said, "My pin's active for 15 minutes, is that right?" And he said, "Well, yes, but," here it comes. Opening the door signals us to come clean your room like you've exited the room. I said, "That's not my problem. I can still re-enter the room, right, and use it." He said, "Yes." I said, "Well, what sense does that make? That you tell me I can exit the room for 15 minutes, the pin is still active, I can go get a cup of coffee. But by exiting the room, it signals you that I have vacated the room." So there's a glitch in the system, you say. There's a glitch in the system that tells them I have vacated the room, that it's now open for cleaning, and it's really not. And it's not my problem. I'm tired of taking responsibility or blame for things that are not my fault or my responsibility. Now, if you want to write me up for being late to a delivery or a load time and take away half of my safety bonus, that's fine. I get it. I messed up and didn't make the appropriate time. That's why you give yourself plenty of time to do what you're supposed to do. All right, got myself over there a little bit. All right. And I'm just getting to a point of beyond caring for, I've got a good one for you, but I don't know. Hey, tell me what men do in a men's room. And you don't have to put too fine an edge on it. What do men do inside a men's room. Oh, this is rich. Now, let me just put it this way, to show you what kind of age we live in. Knowing the kinds of activities that men do when they're inside of a men's room without putting too much of an edge on it, there's only two reasons really that men go into a men's room. Yes, they might do other things like wash their face or shave or whatever. But there's two basic reasons that men go use a men's room or use a toilet in a men's room, either at home or at work or in public. Two reasons. Can you imagine somebody being brazen enough to complain that while another is using the men's room for one of the two basic reasons, that it stinks too much? Boy, I got two letters for you, and that is F and U. I tell you, people have become pussycats of the worst degree. Well, what's the men's room there for but for men to use for doing things that men do on a toilet? Do I have to specify? Do I have to enumerate? And yeah, that happened last week. All right, we're going to use some Ozma. Okay, we're feeling good. Well, you stayed with me this long, and I appreciate it. Thanks for all of the comments and reaching out. Life on the road is getting tiresome for me. I'm ready to, get off the road, but I still got 5 years to go. So my wife is fond of reminding me, you can't retire yet. Well, no, okay. Thank you for joining me. I will see you down the road or from home in a few days. See you later.